Ladies and gentlemen, the show will commence in 5 minutes. While you are waiting, please hit the like button and share the video link.
"300 kilometers in 5 minutes." Live.
New world's record. While playing the drums.
Please like and leave a comment, and share this video.
Only 3 minutes until the start.
That's the road there where they can land planes.
It's like the bug gets land on your windshield.
I'm going very fast here. We're live. I know. See, insects.
Yeah.
Don't see them anymore.
Only 2 minutes until the start.
Permanently in the fast lane.
Yes.
Please like and subscribe to this channel today. And don't forget to share it and hit that thumbs up. Thank you.
Do that, Ralph. I recognize Bobby Brothers. Brother Ralph.
Ladies and gentlemen, the awesomeness is about to start in 1 minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to begin. Grab a drink and a snack, sit down and enjoy watching the show. Don't forget to comment, like the video, and share it to others.
Hey, show 45. As we were talking while the intro was on.
Yeah.
I was driving back from Minsk yesterday. It's just over 300 kilometers. And I drove all the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, show 45 live. Thanks for tuning in. Duke's here from the zoo. He made it another day. No animals ate him.
Yeah. Close.
Yeah.
Today.
And tonight we're going to cut the show slightly early because I've got to fly out of here tomorrow morning and go elsewhere and pick up more studio equipment and then come back for Wednesday's show. So let's start. We're going to start with Belarus.
Yes.
Lukashenko was at the, here we go, at the Holy Domitian Convent today at Easter.
Orsha. Yeah.
Yes. And why was he there? Because it was located near the Dnieper River. And according to him, this river has long united three fraternal Slavic peoples, Belarusians, Russians, and Ukrainians. And he said, I'm absolutely convinced that with our prayers, we will return to the times when our peoples will be together. Mr. Peace.
Yes. Isn't that terrible?
Oh, I didn't show the photo. Oops, wrong one. There it is.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
Saying that. There's no use playing the video because he's speaking in Russian.
As we
Speaking Russian. I'm an idiot. Guess what I forgot?
Oh, the subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
As we always say,
better late than never.
yeah, well,
There they go.
no, we always say that Belarus, that Lukashenko, like they make him out to be some kind of a
Warmonger.
and then they complain about how long he's been there, and yet, but there's never been any wars.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so doesn't that make him qualified for a Nobel Peace Prize?
And also, NATO's new red lines is if Belarus joins Russia and attacks Ukraine, and then they'll enter the war.
Yeah.
Or if Russia attacks the Baltics or Poland, which is not going to happen. So that's their secret new red lines.
Secret that everybody knows.
Yeah, like the secret, there's 100 French Foreign Legion in Slovansk.
Well, these
helping with the artillery.
They've had soldiers there since 2014. The U.S. has definitely had. It's even been documented. It's even been on video. It's been on television. Where American soldiers are there in Ukraine, fighting for Ukraine against Russia. So
yeah, I've got a I'm just trying to find it. I've got a graph which shows. I'll zoom in a bit.
I want that big yellow piece of pie. Is that apple pie?
Yeah, so this is NATO soldiers and officers deployed in Ukraine after February 22. So there you see French 700, Britons 1,100, Americans 2,500, Canadians 1,900. Actual NATO soldiers
deployed to Ukraine after February 2022. After the beginning.
Yeah.
And these are soldiers, real. I mean, they even admit it. I wonder where does the information come from?
It comes from this intel drop. According to sources, Foundation to Battle Injustice.
But the U.S. will not admit that.
Yeah.
I didn't know Canada had that much involvement.
1900, yeah.
Wow. And of course, there's even more. There's no, maybe those are mercenaries. Colombia and
these are but these are not mercenaries. They're talking about actually.
These are real
NATO dudes.
Yeah. What do I say? Enlisted or whatever soldiers.
Yeah, I've got a video here as Belarusians training. And
отряда 23 апреля мы все прибыли в составе отряда на учебный центр Володкино, где с нами проводят занятия инструктора, обладающие боевым опытом. Это слаживание отряда даст нам очень много, более инструктора
training just in case.
Передать всю ту информацию, все те знания и умения нашим военнослужащим. Понятно, что в отряде военнослужащие пришли уже с определенным уровнем подготовки, но все равно та информация, которая дается, воспринимается с большой долей усидчивости. Первые несколько дней будет уделено больше, конечно, одиночной подготовке военнослужащих. Мы все проходим одиночную подготовку, изучаем премудрости ведения.
So Belarus is ready in case NATO comes across the border.
Yeah. Well, they've been threatening.
Defense only, of course.
They've been threatening to come across the border. Poland has how many times?
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of Poland and Belarus, did you see this video of this? These Poles heard this woman speak in Russian, and they thought and they thought she was Ukrainian. This woman here.
Speaking Russian, so they thought she was Ukrainian.
Yeah.
At least that's what
and
they
they,
said.
and they beat up a Belarusian. This woman here.
Pretty girl too.
She got head injuries because her
husband hit her 3 times in the head.
Yeah.
Here he is hitting the phone.
Big man.
Yeah.
Big man.
I heard that they know who these people are, and they're supposed to be going to court, and they face 3 years in jail. But of course, they're going to let them off. So that's just what they say could happen, which won't happen. It's just like when Israelis kill Palestinians or something like that. Like unarmed Palestinians. None of them have ever served any time in jail ever at all, but yet they could. And they go to court, and of course, it's always a sham court for the past several decades. No Israeli soldier has ever spent 1 day in jail for killing an innocent Palestinian. So that's how that
Speaking
goes.
of innocent, did you see the U.S. just said that the Al Qaeda guy they thought they killed was actually a farmer?
Yeah. Well, how long ago was that?
Oh no, it was only like a couple of months ago, or maybe last year.
Oh, I thought that was. I think I saw that, and it's like months afterwards when it comes out on page 40.
Yeah.
First we killed a major Al Qaeda person. Blah blah blah.
It's just a farmer.
Yeah.
They do that a lot.
Yeah.
Whoops. Sorry, we droned a wedding. Sorry.
Drowned a wedding?
No, droned.
Droned. Oh
Droned,
yeah,
yes.
Obama. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Oh, those children playing soccer. We thought that they were militants.
Yes.
Obama did that about every weekend.
Yeah. Mr. President Droner.
Yeah, the peace president,
Yeah.
the bankers president, the drone president. I mean.
Okay, let's start. Go. We're off.
Start.
We're off.
Okay. This is a JDAM, and that's not what I was going to start with,
Okay.
but that was the first photo anyway. I always start off just talking. But according to Bloomberg, the balance of power is shifting. Bloomberg, that's a very well-known publication in the United States. Xi Jinping is reported to be in Europe starting today. His last visit to the EU was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And
keep going.
He's expected to be pitching to the EU leaders that China offers far greater economic opportunities to the EU than the United States is. Can you imagine that? A failing country. I thought a failing country offers better, Anyway. Yeah, he's set to visit France and Serbia and Hungary. That's all that they listed, but you never know. I mean, you'd think he'd be going to Germany. Germany is in dire straits. Everybody knows that. That's what is it, the sick man of Europe or something? And China has also come out and stated that the U.S. is the biggest threat to space security.
And the biggest warmongers.
Didn't Trump start out the Space Force?
Space Force.
Yeah, but anyway, the U.S. defines outer space as a combat zone. I mean, this is what the Chinese have picked up, what the United States has said. They call it a combat zone internally, and then the U.S. accuses others of space militarization, such as Russia and China, I guess, even though they haven't done anything to do with militarization of space. And China calls on the U.S. to stop spreading false statements and stop building weapons in space. Remember, Reagan is the first one that started with this Star Wars sort of thing. And they want to make laser weapons in space, the United States. But it's everybody else that's doing the weapons in space, not the United States.
Yeah, they're spreading a rumor that Russia's got some sort of nuclear bomb in space that takes out their satellites.
Yeah, and that surprised Russia more than everybody else, too.
Yeah. So. Yeah, didn't you see what the Chinese foreign minister just said about the U.S., this guy?
Oh, yeah, let's
listen to this.
China-Russia relationship is built on the basis of non-alignment, non-confrontation, and non-targeting at any third party. It is a factor conducive to world peace and stability, which is no cause for concern. What is truly concerning is the destructive role the U.S. has played to peace and stability in the world. The U.S. is the #1 warmonger in the world. The U.S. was not at war for only 16 years throughout its 240-plus years of history. The U.S. accounted for about 80% of all post-World World War II armed conflicts. The U.S. is also the #1 violator of sovereignty and interferer in the internal affairs of other countries. According to reports, since the end of World War II, the U.S. has sought to subvert more than 50 foreign governments, grossly interfered in elections in at least 30 countries, and attempted assassination on over 50 foreign leaders. The U.S. is also the #1 source of antagonism on bloc confrontation. The U.S.-led NATO is responsible for wars on Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria that killed more than 900,000 and created 37 million refugees. It has also made the Eurasia continent a less stable place. The impact of U.S.-initiated Quad and AUKUS on Asia-Pacific security also calls for vigilance. As long as U.S. hegemonism and belligerence still exists, the rest of the world will hardly get the peace it deserves.
Yeah, of course, he left some things out, and he was being very conservative. I think a lot of people would say that the U.S. has been in a lot more involved in wars, and of course, they've been meddling in far more elections than, what did he say, at least 30? He said at least 30, of course. I guess you got to give it that to him. But a lot of people say that they meddle in just about every election. So that maybe he means 30 in a year. I don't know.
They even meddled in the Australian one in '74. Essentially a coup.
Well, even in Belarus elections, they do. I mean,
Probably
even just coming out and making some sort of a statements or something, even during the fact or after the fact. Look at what they're doing and meddling in Georgia, and of course we'll get to that too. But as we all know, you talk about this, weapons, like putting them in outer space or whatever. As we all know, the U.S. government has already sent, in their words, a significant number of ATACMS, long-range missiles, to Ukraine. And after that, they said they would not do it. They said they're not going to send these, and then they sent it. And I think they were even sending them while they said they're not going to send it. I mean, talk about honesty, And over 24 hours ago, around 24 hours, Ukraine tried to use these missiles, and of course they've used them, of course, before, on another attack on the Crimea. And how many they fired, I don't think was mentioned, but I don't know. They mentioned, I think it was, I thought I saw somewhere 4. They sent 4 ATACMS, and I guess they're kind of expensive. And
I thought it was 14.
Well, I think, let's see, in the past week, they fired off 15. So in that attack, see, like I said, a lot of time they don't know the exact numbers right away. So some people speculate that it was 4 or whatever. You find out always normally that it's been more than that. And Tuesday they fired 6. And so over the past week, I don't know if that includes these that they just fired off at Crimea, but it was 15 ATACMS missiles. And it seems like all of them, I believe, at least from the best of my knowledge, they've all been shot down. And the U.S. also has now JDAMs, we can say. And I guess there's all sorts of variations of these. You get it like from 50, I think it was kilograms of explosive, up to 250. And most of these are, I guess, GPS guided, and I think the U.S. can counter pretty much all of them.
It's like the Russian FABs.
Yeah, back when we were FAB, George Harrison.
Which they're using now,
yeah,
Russians.
The FABs, but also that's probably by Glasnost or something. They're using their,
because they're jamming GPS over Ukraine.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess they're not as
accurate. That's why some of them are only down to 2% accuracy.
It's called the Joint Direct Attack Munition. It's a weird, it just sounds JDAM, but Joint Direct Attack Munition. Yeah, anyway, it's actually a smart bomb, but unless somebody can jam it. And there are all sorts of different variations of these things. So not just the amount of explosives you can use, but some are launched by plane. And of course, they're going to be putting them, I think it's like 61. Initially, they're going to send 61 F-16s, and a lot of them are going to have JDAMs. The United States are going to said they're going to supply all weapons that are available to an F-16, probably short of a nuclear bomb. Maybe even they'll do that too.
You see what they're thinking of doing? Like they'll fly from Romania or Poland, touch down in Ukraine, take off again, attack, touch down in Ukraine, and then go back to Poland.
I heard something strange about where they're going to be taken off from, and I think Russia has also said that. Well, that's probably why they're going to be touching down in Ukraine, because I think what Russia was saying is if they left from Romania and bombed Russia, or I think the
From Poland.
some of the territories, the new territories, the new I keep wanting to say Bundesländer, the new oblasts, then
Liebenstein, was it?
what's it? Then they can actually target Romania if it left off from Romania or Poland, right? So that's probably why they're touching down in Ukraine, and then they're going to go bomb something Russian somewhere. You know, like Lindsey Graham said, "And you kill Russians." So terrible. Yes. Anyway. Oh yeah, these JDAMs I was going to mention. I guess they're somewhat maneuverable, even though, you know, maybe they can jam the system, but at least they have some maneuverability. They can like go ups and downs and lefts and rights and things like that. I guess that's more than you can say for a lot of the missiles from the United States that don't have good maneuverability. So I don't know. It's
Russia will work a way to stop them.
Yeah.
Like with everything else. They'll work for a week or two and then that's it.
Yeah, and these things can also fit in HIMARS, you know, various sizes of these things. So, and they're low cost. You can get them as low as $4,000. Step right up if you order now. And not only that, no, but
Buy
anyway.
10, get one free.
Yeah. But, you know, I think they get up to like, I've seen price tags of 40,000, maybe. Who knows how expensive these things can get, but they can get as low as 4,000. Yeah. But anyway, the U.S. is now also working with Japan to try to build hypersonic missile interceptors. You know, they haven't made I don't know. They don't have a hypersonic missile of their own. So I don't know. Don't you have to have one before you can actually build an effective interceptor for them?
Yeah, well, Israel's getting rid of their Patriots because they don't work.
Yeah.
That was mentioned today.
Only 25% or something? What was it, the success rate?
Yeah, I'll just have a look. It's here. So
shooting down.
When Iran fired anything, they had a 25% success rate, which is right here. There. From the Jerusalem Post, only 25% of US interceptors succeeded in an Iran attack. So they're getting rid of the Patriots. They've started closing them down. They didn't work for the Saudis either when the Houthis were firing at the oil refineries.
I remember the earlier models. They weren't even that successful against Saddam Hussein's, what did they got? Scud missiles. Yeah,
Scuds, yeah.
So, because some of them still got through. And an odd thing is, when I was in the military and we were, you know, at the end, I was on the so-called front line of the Cold War. We were supposed to be the ones that get
Cold War warrior.
Yeah, it was cold. We were the ones that were supposed to be attacked first, the place where I was at. And Wildflecken, an 8th Infantry Division of the 108th Military Intelligence Battalion. And anyway, when we moved, we were getting redeployed. As a matter of fact, they got rid of. Well, I wasn't in 7th Army at the time. I was in, like I said, 8th Infantry Division. But anyway, when we were getting redeployed, and I was actually PCSing, I was, which means permanent change of station. I was leaving the military at that time. Our unit was going to a place in where they grow wine in Germany, right in the middle of some big wine fields. And the barracks, or the building that we were in, my platoon was the building where they worked on Patriot missiles, which was very strange. I mean, that was just something to say, oh, okay, because they got a big name. During the Desert Storm thing, even though they weren't working so well.
See the CEO of that armaments factory, and the one that makes the Leopards in Germany? He said Germany should spend or increase their defense budget by 30%, 30.
Wow. Who said that?
CEO of the place that make the tanks.
Oh, yeah. Well, military industrial complex.
Yeah. They want a 30% increase.
Yeah, it's just like all Raytheon and all of these American ones. General Electric, even all these guys, they're making huge amounts of money. Boeing, for the great airplanes that they're putting out. And yeah, well, as far as war is concerned, anyway, somebody who was kind of a little bit frightened about war was the United Arab Emirates, and they told the United States that they would no longer allow them to bomb Yemen from the Al Dhafara air base
Or Iraq, or
in Abu
yeah,
Dhabi, or Iraq even, huh?
hmm
Oh,
or Syria.
so yeah. But I was hearing that it was about security concerns. They thought, Iran might be tempted to bomb them if they're allowing the United States to use their air base or on their territory to bomb.
And the Houthis are going to start targeting ships in the Mediterranean.
Isn't that weird how the United States has this knack of getting the Slavic peoples to kill each other, the Muslims, or what you want to call Arabic peoples, to kill each other. And now, they got the South Koreans against the North. Of course, that started out in the 1950s. And the Chinese against the Japanese, against the Philippines, against the Chinese, and all of this sort of stuff. But, if you look, the British and the Australians and the Canadians and the Americans, they're not fighting against each other. So in other words, you have to wonder, well, what's going on here? Are we the victims of some kind of a plot? That's what everybody should be thinking. And I think it was even Fizzo. He said that. He was mentioning that. I think just less than a month ago, he was talking about that. Something about somebody's getting these Slavic peoples to kill each other. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And now you can show Joseph,
Mr. Gardner.
Yeah, Mr. Gardner in the beautiful garden, and we're living in the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Yeah. But he gave a talk at Oxford University, and he's saying he knows how to end the Ukraine war. Isn't that incredible?
Stop supplying Ukraine weapons?
Yeah, it makes you wonder what would tempt this guy. He must be having a little bit of a Joe Biden in there, because it's like if you're listening and you're pro Ukraine and say, well, why would he say that? It's not. It's he's been saying he doesn't want to do that. He wants to do the opposite, send a whole bunch of money. So why would he say that? Is it like bragging, or I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's incredible. Yeah, and as far as another, I don't know, hostilities that are going on, as we know, Israel and Hamas are still going, and Israel said even if there's any kind of a peace deal or anything, they're still going to bomb Rafah. It's kind of like we need blood. We need blood. We want to suck your blood. I mean, how, I don't know about Netanyahu. He's even looking like a Dracula or something a lot of the time. But I don't know. Even with a peace deal, he's still going to go into Rafah. I don't know. Well, I don't know. He says he wants to kill Hamas, but he's not been doing a very good job of that. And Hamas knows that, so I guess they can get out and go somewhere else. And I think they're stationed. A lot of the some of the higher ups in Hamas, are they? I can't remember which. Is it United Arab Emirates or is it in Qatar? And a lot of people are saying that they probably have to take off from there because they suspect that they're going to be targeted. Some of these, I don't even know if they're militant leaders, because Hamas has a lot of people that have nothing to do with military, maybe education and that. But Hamas wants to reach an agreement with Israel for the prisoner swap in Cairo. And I guess the first round didn't work. And I guess the second round, I'm not sure if it was supposed to be going today. I think it was supposed to be today. I didn't hear anything about it yet. But
they didn't call you?
Yeah, they didn't. I told them to give me a call. But it makes you really
wonder.
Maybe
because you're in the basement at the zoo. They didn't get the call.
Yeah, I don't get internet there, so yeah, that's the only reason, because they did want to call me.
Yeah.
And say, Duke, we have reached a deal or we haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows what's going on there, and I don't know. What's the point in giving up? I think it was 33. They're going to give 33 prisoners, Hamas. So what's the point when they're still going to go in and just, it's like Israel doesn't care. They're going to go and destroy Rafah. Yes. So, it's Qatar. The U.S. is trying to force Hamas, into like a pro-Israeli peace deal in Qatar. At the same time, is what they're trying to do, this prisoner swap thing. There's a bunch of weird stuff going on, but it doesn't sound like it's going to work to me. And obviously, The Zelensky peace plan. I wonder if that's going to work out. I don't think so. Medvedev.
Russia isn't invited.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard.
Yeah. I can't understand, and it's like people have been talking about that for weeks. And it's like, it's kind of weird. Say if you have two boys fighting and you just call one to solve the problem between the two boys and the other one is, you stay home,
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, and you don't even understand what the problem is or whatever, or you got it all wrong.
Where's this peace thing being located?
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
They just blocked no weapons to Ukraine.
Blocked no weapons?
Yeah, no weapons to Ukraine. They want to keep their neutrality.
Oh, they're going back again. I wonder what caused them to not be neutral before.
Some sort of court case.
But what about sanctions on Russia? They're still probably...
that's still going.
Oh, that's okay. Then they're still neutral, but
yeah.
Sanctions is an act of war, but yet they still have sanctions, but they won't...
And the EU and the G7 aren't going to seize Russian assets.
Aren't going to seize them?
No.
The G7?
Yeah, they think it's probably...
For now.
They think it's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, I saw something, believe it or not. I think they said by the end of 2024, though. I think that's just temporarily. They're not going to seize any, but they're still trying to find a way. I don't know. And the US
I think they're trying to invest the money and then use the money it makes to give to Ukraine.
Oh.
But they won't.
That could have been what
they
it
won't
was.
seize the principal.
Okay. Well, I saw that earlier. I don't know. That's a wise move, at least. I don't know. I wouldn't be sending but I don't know, Russia.
I wouldn't, if I was a country, I wouldn't put any of my money in the EU or
I wouldn't.
England or America now.
You hear that, Africa?
Can't trust it. Well, they've started, some of those countries have asked for their gold back from the US.
A lot of them. Yeah. France, it was one time Germany had their gold in France, and we talked about that in the last show, and in the US. And then they got a lower quality back from the US. I think they got right away, they got their gold back from France. And a lot of countries have most of it is held in the basement of the New York Federal Reserve. And the US probably went around, found the best quality gold, and they took that for themselves. And then they put something that's 96% gold rather than the 99%.
Melted it down and just add a bit of platinum or something to it.
Well, like indium, or I don't know. They don't use indium anymore. I'm not sure what alloys they use. And I think that even the U.S. used a little bit of copper, because if you look at some of their gold coinage, like this Liberty Eagle, and maybe, I don't know about the Buffalo dollar or whatever, but they have kind of a reddish tint, even though they're less gold than, say, the Australian or the Canadian, or maybe even, I think, the South African.
They cost more?
Yeah, they cost much more, and they have less gold in them. What a deal! Back today. They are kind of pretty, but I don't know. But and the thing is, you buy them. Isn't that strange? If you buy them in some vault, a lot of places, like at least in Germany, say for example, you buy say you buy a coin of Australia, 1,000. Just say 1,000 euros, and you can buy the American for 1,200 euros, and then when you go to turn it into the same company, because they're holding it in the vault, so you want to get and say the price goes up. Say, and it goes up to 1,500 for the Australian one, and I mean the buying price, and then the buying price maybe for the American one, say, is 1,750. But when you turn it in, you get, for example, for the Australian, you might get 1,300, and for the American one, you get 1,300. You get the same amount, so you pay a lot more. So you have to. The price has to go way up before you're going to make anything on it. So in other words, it's something called a rip-off. Don't get the American gold stuff, people, if you can get the other ones. Yes.
Does Russia...
Russia does it.
Have they got coins?
Yeah, they have the same sort of deals right now. And I don't know what the prices are, because I don't have the money anymore.
What is it called? Double Eagle or something?
I don't know. I know, but I know that I don't even know they do have their own coinage too, but I don't know what's on it. That's interesting, because I'm not in the market. I can't buy anymore because I don't have the money. Like, I'm just trying to sell my other stuff, and
You're just a poor zoo worker.
Yeah, an old guy. If I was younger, I'd probably, go somewhere and try to. I'd maybe be a mercenary in Ukraine that don't pay their people, and then you buy gold. I can buy gold with the money they don't pay me. Anyway, that's the world and how it is today. Yes, so Dmitry Medvedev.
There you go. You got a Russian 50 ruble gold coin. That's a quarter ounce. That's 517 pounds. And Russian 10. That's from 1892. Yeah, well, there you go. So 100 rubles.
What percentage of it is gold, does it say?
Let's look. Here we go. I'll just put that up there. So this is a 100 ruble gold half ounce, 17.3 grams.
Half ounce, okay.
Yeah, 1,000 pounds, just over. Is that it there?
I was getting 1 ounce.
Is that it there?
And but you also have to know the percentage of gold. Like if it's the American gold is less gold coinage has less gold in it than most everybody else's.
So it's 0.900 fineness. Is that
0.9? Yeah, that's like the Australian one. That's the best then. 0.99. The United States is like 9.6.
Yeah, well, this is 0.900.
Wait, 0.900
fineness.
Wait, 0.9. Well, maybe they just measured a little bit differently. Like in the other ones, they say 0.99 or 99 point some. I don't know. But anyway, it's a bunch of nines. In the U.S., they throw a 6 in there or something like that. So it's not as pure. You would think that Russia, because they normally, like a lot of time you got gold, they would put some copper in it, and they call it red gold. So
there's real red gold from Wales.
Real red gold.
Yeah, my mum and dad had red gold wedding rings.
This is red gold here.
That's a real red gold. That comes from the mine, red gold.
Yeah, I think this has
probably got
copper in it.
It's probably got.
This is from Russia. Mine's a Russian one, but I don't know if it's. I'm just thinking it's got copper in it. I've always been told it's got copper in it, a little bit of copper, but that's what I learned in dental technician school. But
okay,
maybe not. Okay, Dmitry Medvedev. We have a photo of him. He looks pretty cool here. He looks pretty serious. The good cop, bad cop. Putin. It seems like that's a good strategy. Have the guy who's actually in charge, like Putin, be the good cop, and have the guy
who could be in charge
if they take Putin out, be the bad cop. So it's like, God, maybe we shouldn't take out Putin because we're going to get this guy in here, and we don't want him in there. So anyway, he's talking about the Zelensky plan. Medvedev says the peace conference, this one in Switzerland that Russia's not invited to, is very strange. He says the peace conference will benefit Russia threefold. Firstly, it will be further evidence of the collapse of the Zelensky peace plan, and that if Zelensky flies to Switzerland, he will once again show his worthlessness. Hangs around like a janitor in some places. Everybody saw that in Vilnius. Number two, the conference will be visible proof of the inability of the Western elites who act on direct orders of the United States to end the conflict. So yeah, if they're going to end it, if they want to end it, if they don't end it, I have no idea. Maybe I don't know what he's meaning actually by that. I don't know if the West does want to end it. And he says, number three, the conference will allow Russian forces to continue to liberate the ancestral Russian lands from the neo-Nazis. So, unless it's Tucker Carlson, he says there are no Nazis anymore.
No, none according to him.
Yeah. And another Russian person in government, in the foreign ministry, Maria Zakharova. I like getting pictures of her. Too bad we had a good picture of her in that one time, and I forgot the news. I didn't write it down. I guess I was too much concentrating on the photo or something like that. But anyway, here she's wearing her wedding dress. No, kind of nice. Looks looks like an Easter dress, but I don't think this was done on Easter. So she's talking
Oh
about.
yeah, Happy Easter.
Yes,
It's Russian Orthodox Easter
we
today.
didn't say that. Oh.
No, we forgot.
Happy Orthodox Easter,
To everybody out there.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some words. I should have learned them by now. That means Happy Easter, but I just, they say it so fast. So I don't know. It sounds like Sunday. So anyway, she's talking about steadfast defender, and
They've extended it too.
yeah, and a lot of the stuff that's going on, and she's what she's saying, and of course it's obvious to me and everybody else that the West expects war. I think they actually want war. They expect war, and of course that was the whole idea anyway, was to get a strategic defeat of Russia, so that they can come in and take the resources. That was the whole idea anyway, And then of course they thought Russia would surrender and Ukraine would roll over them and crush Russia. Bunch of real brilliant people. And anyway, it didn't happen. So we have another government.
I think a guy in the 40s tried to do that.
Yeah, that's the predecessor of...
The guy 1800s tried that as well.
In the 1800s? Who's that?
Napoleon, I think.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Oh, the early 1800s. I keep thinking, do you mean Bismarck? He wasn't. No, but Bismarck wasn't like that. Bismarck wanted to keep peace. Bismarck, I did some studies on him in the university. He had all Europe tied up in alliances that nobody could fight each other, because everybody had an alliance with these people and those ones over there with that one. So, until Kaiser Wilhelm dropped him, I think it was around 1890. And then eventually war came about in 1914. So anyhow,
that's your history lesson for today. Thank you.
Yes, that's it, in brief, without any blood or anything. Yes, and we talk about some more Nazis, at least closet Nazis, like government, such as some of them in Poland. So now the peace president of Poland, Duda, is begging the U.S. to station nukes on Polish soil. So far, I mean, that's a peace initiative, right?
Yeah.
When nobody is threatening him, except he's threatening everybody else. Then, I mean, Belarus. But anyway, so far the U.S. has said no, which, like they did with the ATACMS, which means yes. So when they say no, that means yes. So you'll see probably nukes in the in the near future in Poland. Yes, and the U.S. may already have nukes in Poland. I'll tell you, I had a friend, like I told you. I mentioned this guy on this show before, and he might even, I can maybe get him to watch this, but he's in a different part of the world right now. But he was in the British military, and one of his jobs is, because he was on an air base, is just keeping up with the inventory of the nuclear bombs. And it's like, okay, well, there's 16, so there's 16. And just probably once a month he has to just sign that there's 16 there. Anyhow, it was announced. And one time in Europe, that Great Britain, it was during the time of détente or something like that. What years was that?
Removing all the weapons from England.
Yeah. So anyway, it was announced that they had removed all the nuclear weapons from the German soil, and they still were there. And he said, because he's the guy inventorying them. He said we still had them all there. And I even knew one guy that he was in charge of the making sure that the nuclear bombs were properly, all bombs are properly fastened on the wings of the tornadoes, I guess is what they were using. And of course, in the time of peace, they didn't have the nuclear bombs on there. They had concrete dummies or something like that. So anyway, when it flew across the channel and came back, and there was no bomb on there. So he got into big trouble, because all it was some wires hanging there. So he signed off on that it was properly fastened on the airplane. That's a different guy.
Didn't the U.S. lose 2 nukes off Spain or something as well?
I thought they lost one also down by Louisiana, and that was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was,
I don't know that. I think that was nukes or something, right? It wasn't some dummies.
Yeah, off Spain as well, in the water and the sea.
South Carolina?
Never found them. Didn't find the one in there either, in the U.S.
Yeah, until they show up somewhere. Yeah. But anyway, Russia said that if nukes go into Poland, they will be legitimate targets. So welcome to that, people. And we can get into Georgia, not the one that makes peanuts down there, but everybody's been hearing, obviously, and you posted some really good stuff, that lo and behold, George Soros is connected to all these protests in Georgia. Maybe because it's called Georgia, so maybe he thinks it's his country, like he thought Ukraine was his country. As a matter of fact, he said it was a project of his, and so George Soros had a lot to do with what's going on in Ukraine today. And I don't know if it's George Soros, because I thought he stepped down, and Alexander Soros is now in charge of his, I keep forgetting the name. You have to keep reminding me.
Open Society.
Open Society. But this is actually a different one. It's not Open Society. Let's see, I wrote it down here. Probably never remember that one either. But anyway, I don't know if it's Alexander. It's called Civil Society Foundation. And USAID, and who knows? I don't know. Does he have some ownership or some part of USAID, George Soros? All these rich people, they own so much you can't even keep track of it. Maybe they own it and you don't even know about it. Bill Gates is involved with Monsanto, and Bill Gates is involved with the World Health Organization. Of course, he's.
I've got a video of him talking about lab meat as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. That sounds like fun.
Made it illegal in Florida.
Oh yeah, George George Santos. No, what's his name?
Come on.
I haven't even mentioned him for a long time. The governor of Florida. What's his name, everybody?
Come on.
I'm pulling a Biden, if you don't realize that. As long as I'm not pulling a Mitch McConnell and just freeze up. And anyway,
DeSantis?
DeSantis, not DeSantos. Who's DeSantos? That was a guy, Spanish guy or something. That was some politician. Anyway, in the Republic of Georgia, the prime minister refused to visit the United States. Guess why? After the U.S. demanded, and I use the word demanded, that the parliament suspend consideration for
Ron DeSantis.
Oh yeah, Ron DeSantis. Yeah. Anyway, so he refused to go to the U.S. because the U.S. was demanding that they suspend the consideration for that bill that's drafts or whatever the bill on foreign agents. That will so if the bill does not pass, it will make it easier for spies and saboteurs to operate in Georgia. So obviously the U.S. does not want it to pass.
Even though it's almost a direct copy of the one from the U.S.
The U.S. has, and Russia had that. They didn't like that at all when Russia had one.
EU's got one.
I don't know if, I'm sure that Lukashenko does too.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't have one, he's got something
similar,
as good or maybe better. I don't know, because I don't think they have any of these jokers in Belarus either. So
yeah, I think they kicked most of the NGOs out, didn't they?
Belarus. Yeah, but you know how they do that? They do things differently. They broadcast over the borders. They have like Radio Free Europe and what is it? I think that's a part of Voice of America and
Belsat.
And then they invite
Belsat.
Yeah. You were mentioning that because that was a new one on me.
It's Polish. Yeah. Funded by Poland.
Sounding like it's from Belarus, but it's actually not.
No.
Yeah, and then they invite people like to go to places like Vilnius or Riga, for workshops. And they actually tell you how to do protests and how to fund it and how to stay hidden.
Meet the immigration officer.
Yeah, things like
What's
that.
her name?
Who?
The immigration officer.
What's her name?
The fake president.
Oh, yeah.
Because all she's doing is managing all the exiles. She's like an immigration officer. That's all she is.
Yeah. I guess you're right on that. When you consider it.
Yeah. Where's her money coming from? I keep asking every week. She doesn't answer.
On her Telegram.
Yeah, on her Twitter. Doesn't answer. I say, where's your money coming from? Be transparent.
Is she flying around all over the place?
Yeah, she was in Norway, I think, yesterday or whatever. Yeah.
She was a school teacher.
And she was in Malta 2 days ago. Gets around. Where's the money coming from?
Yeah. Jeez. And why is she flying around? I guess she's got some state business. I mean, being the fake president is that's a very demanding position. Yes.
She's put a lot of weight on too.
Yeah, I didn't find any pictures of her. They showed something kind of her face a little bit, and I was like, but I gotta
Living the
look
good
around.
life, flying around, eating well.
Eating well, yes.
How come she's not looking after her kids, young kids?
She has kids too, huh?
Yeah, I think 2 young ones.
Well, yeah, good mother, I suppose.
But the question is, where's the money coming from?
Yeah.
Be transparent.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that strange? Like, we have to have money when we go to a different country, and she can go there and live a luxury life. I wonder. Maybe she's an immigrant. Maybe she's a migrant or a refugee. Anyway,
I don't know.
Must be.
She's got those fake Belarusian passports now.
Are you serious?
Yeah. They've got fake ones. Well, not fake ones. I mean, like they're not the official.
They made their own.
They've made their own ones. Yeah.
Oh, and they're calling them the real ones.
The real ones. Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned on the show or not, but I mentioned on my channel, which I'm not going to very much anymore, but that they were Poland was handing out free passports to people, at least in the Brest Oblast. So anybody who's living in the Brest Oblast can get a free Polish passport. And I guess the whole thing was to say, well, look, we're taking over Brest because they're Polish anyway. They're Polish people all living there. And what was the name of this town again that the fake president's people were supposed to be? It's near Brest. Remember that road?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, that we mentioned that last week, because it's probably not going to be happening anymore because the government here found out about it. So,
well, as we discussed, the security services here are on the ball.
Yeah, very good. It's incredible. Yeah, and that, I guess, for me, that
would be a good interview.
Concludes, get to somebody from the security services. Yeah, I'd like to do that. Anybody out there in the security services in Belarus, please contact us. We'd like to do an interview. Your conditions, whatever you want. You can wear a mask. You cannot wear a mask. You stand on your head. Yeah. Anyway, do you have anything more about like Georgia and those places, or you can go right into the protests of Palestine? Or so, well, we have some video footage of. There's a video pro-Palestine protest. This one, what was this one? Is that this Colombia?
Yeah.
They're all over the place. People remember these images in the next election of Belarus, and they start complaining about Belarus. And they're going to broadcast them all over the world. And these you have to look in tiny little telegram channels to find this. Get back! Big vocabulary. Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! It's a Beatles song, right?
Yeah.
Get back to where you once belonged. Somebody throwing water.
Got away.
Flash guns. Ooh, like a slippery fish. Maybe that water helped them slip out. Maybe they threw some oil in there. The one that got away.
The one that got away.
Yeah, remember seeing those images. And of course, whenever they're going to have a Belarus election and they start staging this kind of stuff from the beyond the borders of Belarus, But I'll tell you what, whenever you see, if you look on these protests, look at all of the protesters. They're not doing anything violent. None of them. They might throw some water. That's probably about the worst they'll get. And isn't it strange when you saw the mostly peaceful protests that the Democrats were all cheering on when 200 people died, most of them black, and a lot of them were children, but yet they're mostly peaceful protests and Trump shouldn't do anything about them. What a brutal guy for trying to stop the protests. But what about now when Biden is trying to stop the protests? And believe it or not, even Trump is saying, stop protesting. Who knows why?
This is in France. This is a Palestine one as well.
Why are they protesting? Israel should have the right to just kill off anybody they want, to massacre and kill off entire races and people and things.
Exactly.
Isn't that terrible? I mean, it's terrible to say that I agree with George Soros this time, but the Palestinians have been getting shafted for decades. Some people make some deal.
70 years.
Yeah, they make the Balfour Declaration and after the Sykes-Picot Agreement and all that, both in 1917, and then these people move in and start kicking out the Palestinians and the people that actually lived there for many, many hundreds of years. These European people moving in there and kicking out these people that are actually from the area and saying, this is our land. God gave it to us. God is our real estate agent, and he gave us this land. So...
And where's this?
And now we're gonna kill you.
Is this UCLA?
This is this is the aftermath of after the protests. The morning after. Obviously, these people were forcibly moved because they left all their stuff. Oh, it's hard to pick up your tent and everything when you're handcuffed or have ties on your back. How many people they arrested so far? Thousands.
Yeah, 1,000 or something.
No, it was way over 2,000.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely over 2,000. I think it was,
okay.
I don't know if it was 2,400 or even more than that.
They I can't remember which university. They got another professor, that man this time, broke his ribs, all sorts of things. Yeah, it's in hospital.
I think I read a statement on that. He said that he was just standing there, not doing anything, and he just said he just happened to have probably been in the wrong place, and they just beat him up. Isn't that incredible? The difference is, I don't know that the Belarusian police did that much damage on the people, not like these people.
No, they didn't.
They scared a lot of people, I know that. But there was some people that did get injured. I don't think anybody, I'll tell you what, one I know in Baranovici, the protesters, of course, that were staged from foreign countries, somebody ran over a policeman, and then the policeman got more brutal. I don't think, like I said, I don't think they killed anybody or really, really badly injured anybody. I don't think, but they got far more forceful when you run over a policeman, and I think ran him over and killed him, I believe. So it was getting violent in Baranovici in those days in 2020. Just saying. Yeah. And
the complete opposite in, where's this US? What's this rally?
Oh, this LGBT?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Look at the difference between a LGBT rally, pro-LGBT, and pro-Palestine. Let's see what the difference is.
And we're not pro-LGBT.
Yeah, we're not. Look at the police. Look at how brutal they're getting.
This New York.
Look at the brutal police. Waving. And look at how loving they are in a Palestinian rally, pro-Palestinian. There's an expression, to know who rules you, find out who you're not allowed to criticize. So when you criticize Israel, look what happens. I don't know. I remember that expression for like the last 20 years. Wow. But Joe Biden, he might have something.
This guy,
Yeah, listen to the brilliant
orator.
Well, in other words, actually, what I'd want to say is this guy, he's talking about, I don't know, it's all hogwash. We'll comment afterwards.
And they put to the test two fundamental American principles, excuse me. The first is the right to free speech and for people to peacefully assemble and make their voices heard.
Which was what they were
Second
doing?
Is the rule of law. Both must be upheld.
Isn't the
We
right
are
to
not
assemble
an
the rule of law?
authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent.
You're not?
The American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues. But neither are we a lawless country. We're a civil society.
He's just talking about the law, and now he's talking, but that contradicts the law. The law contradicts the law. He's, the right to protest and all that kind of stuff, which are laws. And it says, but there's the law. So we have to use the law to crush the law. That's what he's saying. It's incredible. It's incredible. So we have to use the law. Basically, your rights are supposed to trump the law. So you have rights, like the right to live, in peace and all that sort of stuff. Isn't that incredible? So we're going to crush you guys.
Free-thinking and freedom-loving nation. In moments like this, there are always those who rush in to score political points.
Like
but this
Joe
isn't
Biden.
a moment for politics. It's a moment for clarity. So let me be clear.
Oh, God.
Peaceful protest in America.
Clarity.
Violent
from Joe
protest
Biden.
is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Vandalism, trespass.
So pitching your tent on the grass is
that's violence. That's violence. Like look at on January 6th. They didn't bring guns. They should have brought guns, and they should have been screaming. They should have been smashing the windows. Actually, there was little bit of damage and stuff like that. But they shot and killed that one woman. But anyway,
Babbitt.
Yeah, and then they put these people in prison for years and say it was an insurrection, but they didn't bring any weapons to the insurrection. They're trying to overthrow the government without any weapons. I mean,
and how do you overthrow a government by just taking over a building?
Yeah, and then just walking around, and then the film footage. I mean, isn't that incredible? And the police were escorting them around and saying, "Oh, yes, sir, okay, go look over here," and giving them a tour and everything, and then walk them out. And this guy, everything he's saying, not half, everything he says is nothing but bull. He's basically saying he is saying we have to crush peaceful protest. It's actually what he is saying, because those people were not doing anything. If they canceled the class, is that violence? So in other words, maybe he's trying to say, yes, you can protest, but go 500 miles outside of a city out there somewhere in some farmer's field that will allow you to do it, and then where nobody can see you, and then you're allowed to protest. That's the only place. Jeez.
No, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations. None of this is a peaceful protest. Threatening people,
that's not
intimidating people, instilling fear in people is not peaceful protest.
But that's what you're doing. That's what the police are doing, threatening.
Dissent is essential to democracy, but dissent must never lead to disorder or to denying the rights of others so students can finish the semester and their college education.
Now, of course, I would rather...
You've all seen the image.
I would rather, of course, go to class and do all that kind of stuff, even though heck, I would go protest. I would take some hours or something like that. I'd love to do it when I'm not having class, but I would go to my class. But it's not like the students canceled the classes. It's the universities that canceled the classes. They could have kept the classes going, I mean, a lot of this stuff is nothing but hogwash. All this is to draw attention and to show us who rules us. Yeah, that's incredible. So that's how that is, people. Yes, and what else do we have here? David Cameron. He said a couple of days ago that Kiev has the right, again, we're talking about rights, the right to peaceful protest, but Kiev has the right to bomb Russian territory with British weapons. I mean, that's a fundamental right. So, and
He's also offered them $3 billion a year for the next 100 years or something.
yeah, gosh. So, yeah, I mean, that's a right. That's the right of the British people to have money forcefully taken away from them and by taxation and sent to Ukraine that doesn't do the British people any good whatsoever. That's their right. I mean, talk about the crappy stuff going on in the world. But, yeah, but I don't know. The British weapons, I mean, and what I don't know. I'm just getting pissed off about all this. And the U.S. is also sending, you know, as we all mentioned, ATACMS and the JDAMs and all this. So, we already know that Ukraine is striking Russian territory.
And EU wants to send him another 100 billion or something.
Yeah, you know, it's like it's not just that 61 billion that the United States, well, mostly in weapons, that the United States is sending, because the European Union was sending them billions, and a couple countries were sending them hundreds of millions, and the UK, I don't know how many billions they were sending. So you got to think about Ukraine just sitting back and just sucking up all these weapons and this money and everything like that.
This one?
Most már $100 milliárd dollárt akar még belepumpálni a háborúba. A NATO főtitkárának erre vonatkozó...
Okay, he's saying that NATO, they want to send another 100 billion.
Who is that? Is that foreign minister of Hungary?
Don't know.
And of course he's against it. I'm guessing. I don't know. But these British weapons and these other, you know, like we already know that Czech weapons were used to kill civilians. The targets that the Ukrainians have in Russian territory are civilians. It's not military. So that's something of note. So in other words,
which is a war crime.
Cameron is basically saying Ukraine has the right to use our weapons to kill innocent Russians. It's almost like what Lindsey Graham said when he was over there. Yeah, the best money ever spent because you're killing Russians. You know, the new Jews, whatever. In other words, it's just another form of Nazism, if you want to, you know, talk about it honestly. You know, the Nazis, what made them different? You know, like we say, fascism is actually an economic system. It's, I don't know, I don't want to keep repeating that. You guys are probably getting sick of hearing me saying it. But Nazism is something like having that you feel superior over other race or races and all that. So killing, in other words, Russians, wanting to, you know, even genocide. Genocide is something that Nazis, you know, that's part of their ideology. And we see where this...
Interesting how the Germans are involved again.
Yeah, but this is all this stuff that's going on, you know, this stuff about going after a different race, whether you're Palestinians or Arabs or whether you're Russians or whatever. To me, it's all Nazism. Plain and simple. Yeah. And actually, old Adolf, in those days, he wasn't nowhere near as bad. I mean, everybody says 6 million Jews, and of course that's a complete other fantasy. There wasn't 6 million Jews in all of Europe at the time, so how could he have killed more than there was? And of course, in the official,
YouTube won't like you.
Yeah, well, I didn't say anything. I've heard this stuff on YouTube already, so we'll be okay.
Okay.
But now I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Official records on the Red Cross, I think it said 170,000 from all those concentration camps. That's a far cry from 6 million, but we've said that before too.
I need a little flag. I need a little flag for you.
For what, a Ukrainian flag?
No, when you start talking about stuff you shouldn't, I'll just like fly it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like this.
I got too used to being only on Rumble all the time. But I don't think I crossed the line there because other people...
We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, the thing is, other people have talked like that before. So Scott Ritter even does, but I don't know if we're allowed to because we're a little channel and they want to make sure they stop us before anything good happens, like they've already done 3 times or so, 2 or 3 times. Yes.
Moving on.
Yeah. So Cameron's statement, says that Kiev has the right. And this was reported by Reuters, and then Reuters took it down. They immediately withdrew it, but Cameron didn't. He didn't retract his statement. So that's kind of strange.
Why?
Why is it strange? Because I think you're not supposed to be talking like that. Because I don't know. And along with this, the office of the office of the Prosecutor General in Germany has decided that if Germany attacks Crimea, it will be legal. That is not an illegal act. So in other words, Russia does not have to attack Germany, and if Germany initiates an attack on Crimea, at least is what they were talking Crimea. They didn't say an attack on Russia. An attack on Crimea, that's legal. They even put documentation on that, and it's even on the internet. You can get it. Yes, indeed.
There he is.
Looks like he's just about ready to blow a saxophone, but where's the saxophone?
Blow something.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's throwing up and he's trying to hold it back. But this thing about Germany is, I think this comes on the tail of those officers, that were caught on a hot mic or something, talking about attacking, how they could attack the bridge. And of course, that's also about Taurus missiles, which Schultz keeps saying he's not going to send. And who knows, maybe he's not going to send. But he's already said many times about other things, I'm not going to do this, not going to do that. And he's done it. I think they were originally only supposed to send pillows to Ukraine, but they're far beyond pillows now.
And some feathers.
Yeah. But another thing I'm noticing, like if you listen about Germany and you listen about the UK and of course Ukraine and even the US, they're all obsessed with
the bridge.
Yeah, with attacking the Crimean bridge. It's like, what? Don't you guys have anything better to do? I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like not, they know that Russia will be really, really heavily pissed off, and it symbolizes the Crimea rejoining Russia after 40 years or whatever. How long? I don't know how long it was part of administratively part of Ukraine, even though it never really was a part of Ukraine. I think in 1954 to, how many years is that? 54 to 2014? Wow, that's in around 60, 70, 80, 90, 70 years, I guess. So it was administratively a part of Ukraine for only 70 years, but it's been a part of Russia for hundreds of years. So therefore, it belongs to Ukraine. Even though all the people don't want to be a part of Ukraine, none of them ever did. I remember even back in the 80s, people protesting because they did not want to be a part of the Ukraine. Seriously, and I saw them on, because there was Russian, had the lease for the military base of Sevastopol, and they were having protests. And the Russians were like gently pushing them back because they didn't want to be a part of Ukraine. They wanted to be a part of Russia, even back then. So, and of course, the Donbass, they didn't want to be a part of Russia, of Ukraine either. It's incredible. But no, we're going to bomb you guys.
Khrushchev's got a lot to answer for.
Yeah. Some people say he was drinking or with his buddies and his wife was Ukrainian and said, oh, come on, give it to the Ukraine. And then he did. And then look at Stalin doing a bunch of crazy crap like that too. Even though Stalin was very good in leadership in so many ways, but he started mixing everybody together and cutting one part of a country off of this part and putting it onto that one. Even he's from Georgia originally. But anyway, he's the one that attached South Ossetia. I don't know if North Ossetia was ever part of Georgia. And of course, all the people are Russian, so they didn't want to be a part of Georgia. I don't know. Anyhow, not at least under Saakashvili. Okay. And we have a great video. It's kind of, it's almost like it's staged. So then like it'd be like a comedy video.
We did check, and it is real.
It's a real video. and this is real stuff. And this is Jared Bernstein. He's chair of the United States Council of Economic Advisors, and he's got a degree, obviously, in economics. He's a professor of economics, the chief economist of Obama. He taught economics at Columbia University as well as other institutions, and has had a very numerous appointments such as U.S. Deputy of Labor, Economic Policy Institute, Congressional Budget Office, and he's still part of some of those anyway.
He sounds like he knows economics.
Yeah,
very well.
Yeah, this guy is like the top
advisor,
economist.
Yeah,
in the United States.
Sounds like he knows his stuff.
Yeah. So listen to. I mean, you guys are going to learn something about economics here.
Okay.
Listen to this.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government?
Kennedy asked that question.
Well,
John F. Kennedy.
Listen
to this answer, everybody.
So again, some of this stuff gets. Some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds, and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah, so. A lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to, yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about.
I don't get it.
It's like, the government
the top
clearly
economist
prints
in America.
Money. It does
I don't
all
get
the
it.
Time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So, I don't think there's anything confusing there.
Even though I don't get it, I don't think there's anything confusing there. So I hope you all learned a lot about economics from that. Oh, that's got to be one of the funniest videos ever, because it's not supposed to be funny. Gosh damn, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I don't understand what the heck. I don't want to know what we're doing here. Somehow it works. But also when you think about it, they have this, fractional reserve banking. So like when you have, for example, and how it started in the United States. And if, this brilliant idea that, that you have a private central bank that can print the money's currency, and not the U.S. government. In 2013, President Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act, giving a private bank, the ability and the right to print the currency of the United States. But they designed it in such a way, that you have to pay interest. So the U.S. government borrows money from the central bank and pays interest on that money, has to pay interest on that money. So consider if the central bank printed only $100 and they loaned it to the United States, and the United States has to pay that $100 back with interest. Where are you going to get the interest? When there's only $100 in existence, you have to pay 10% interest on the $100. The 10% that doesn't exist, you have to pay that as interest. Brilliant. It's brilliant stuff. And also in this kind of a system, the bank holds this money, and now, even now how it works, the best thing is you have, say, for example, they print $100, and this money a lot of time now doesn't exist. It only exists on a computer. So they have this $100 and it's listed on the computer as we have $100. And so the Federal Reserve loans this $100 out to other banks. I think it's 11 times, even though there's only $100, they loan the same $100 out 11 times. In other words, that's 1,100, but it doesn't exist. All that exists in reality is that 100. It's just incredible. I mean, I'm not saying I understand this, but you tell me how that works. But that's the truth. That's how it's done. And I don't know. Can anybody see that we're going to maybe have some problems at some point in time? Oh my God. So it's actually a good thing when you get here we're on the other side and we're getting ourselves separated from that system over there. And it makes you really wonder, what does the United States get all this money? And then you had these pallets and pallets of money over in Afghanistan. And, who is getting that money anyway? All this stuff is just incredible. And billions and billionaires and trillionaires. Yes.
600 million of cash went missing in Iraq on pallets.
600 million. That's a drop in the bucket. How many trillions went missing? Donald, do you remember that on the September 10th, 2001? And Donald Rumsfeld, just right before 9/11, the day before, what was it, 2 trillion?
Yeah, missing.
We don't know what happened to it. 0.2, 0.3. We just don't have account. It's the Pentagon. We don't have accountability. We don't know what happened to it. It's just gone.
Just gone.
It's like, well, damn, how come none of it came my way? That's a lot of money. That's, what is it, $2.3 trillion? Flash a little bit over here, buddy. I mean, my God, I'll keep my mouth shut. Just give me 2%. Anyway, I just don't get it, this guy said. There's nothing confusing there. Yes, and of course that actually should be a big story. That should be one of the biggest stories on earth if you think about that. Here's a guy, the top economist in the United States, basically saying, I don't have a faintest idea on how this does work, but it's all very clear. There's nothing confusing here. Yeah, and some sad news. I think it was a week ago. They were uncovering mass graves in Gaza, and it's like 300 bodies. And I think even to the fact that I've heard of other mass graves, and I'm wondering if this is the case also on this one, where their hands are even tied behind their back.
Yes.
And they're women and children as well.
Yes. And doctors and nurses in their scrubs.
Oh, you mean, oh, really? And not 300 bodies? But it's not genocide, people. Killing innocent people with their hands tied behind your back.
In a pit?
In a pit, most apparently because they are either part of a particular ethnic grouping of people or they're assisting that ethnic group of people.
Viewers can
for
make
those
up their
reasons.
minds, yes.
And that's not genocide. And I think it was the Russian ambassador to the United Nations, or at least he was saying that there should be an investigation. And of course, the U.S. was going to block it.
Speaking of which, they were trying to get an investigation going for Nord Stream, but I think Sweden said, what's the point?
What's the point? It's just, it's just it is the biggest, eco-terrorist operation in world history. What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, what is the point? What's the point of saying what's the point? It's like you don't want to find out who did this and who the culprit is.
Oh, they know, that's why.
Yeah, they know who it is. Yeah, obviously. Sweden did the investigation, I believe, already. They have, and they uncovered the evidence. Remember Scott Ritter saying, he was a weapons inspector, and he said it's, you just get some of the debris and things from the floor of the ocean, and you can find out who made those bombs, and obviously Sweden knows who made those bombs, and they're not disclosing it. And
Didn't they find one that didn't go off?
I was thinking maybe they did. That was that branch of the Nord Stream 2 that didn't get blown up, right? Yeah, so they got the bomb materials right there, and yet they can't figure out who made the bomb, even though they all have a footprint, like Scott Ritter said.
It's a mystery.
It's a big mystery. Isn't that incredible? It's just like that black box. Just like that black box that I think Britain has it. They turned it over. Yeah, Britain has it, of that airline, Malaysian airline that was flying over Ukraine when it got shot down. They have the black box to tell us who shot that down, but they said they're not going to reveal it for, I don't know, maybe security reasons, right? Who shot that plane? I mean, come on. Everybody knows that was going to happen anyway. But let's get into some bad people now. The Olympic Committee recommends to all athletes in the Olympics not to talk to Russians and Belarusians, to ignore them, not to congratulate them, not to do press conferences with them, have nothing to do with them.
I thought the Olympics was supposed to be non-political.
Yeah, well, no, because Adolf Hitler thought that in.
Are they saying the same thing
in
for
1936?
Are they saying the same thing for Israeli athletes?
Well, genocide is allowed nowadays, just like pedophilia and all that other stuff. I mean, you look at what the world is going to. So if you stand up for real family and human values and things and are a conservative type of person, you're bad. So you have to stand up
right wing.
Yeah, you have to stand up for genocide and pedophilia and homosexuality and bombing, innocent people, all that. I mean, that is human values now. It's incredible. So ignore these Belarusians and ignore these Russians. These people were raised differently. And we know because we live here. Look at all the violence that we don't see here and all the rapes and the murders that don't happen in Belarus. I mean, it could influence those people from the West if they talk to Russians and Belarusans. So, bunch of crap, isn't it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Don't do any joint photos with them, all this kind of stuff. It makes you wonder, what the heck? It's really weird, the whole world. I mean, and it's like you'd think that somebody said, oh, well, we're making a mistake. Now let's backtrack. Let's not do this sort of stuff. But here they just dig themselves in deeper. And there's more and more. There's hundreds and thousands of these people.
Doubling down.
Yeah, they just keep going for this crap. It's incredible. It's just incredible. Yeah. And anyway, that's about all I have. So.
That's all you have.
Yes.
Okay. Hang on.
Good. I don't, it's like, what the heck is going on in the world?
Remember the guy that did that Putin voiceover, the Australian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to him. Asked him a question the other day, and I just recorded it. I just said to him, how's Australia changed in the last 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And do you want to hear his answer?
Yeah.
So this is Hang Loose Recluse. Go to his YouTube channel, subscribe. This is the guy that did the voiceover for the Putin.
Yeah.
Which was funny, about Nord Stream.
With the Australian voice, right?
Well, because he's Australian.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's listen to him, because I asked him about this.
I'll try and go off what I remembered it being. It's just a silent movie edition. Damn it. Oh, here we go.
What happened was I asked him the question, and he accidentally muted his microphone. And then he was raving on for 10 minutes. And that's why he was laughing. I said, is this the silent movie edition? Because then he realized, he goes, oh, shit, I got to start again.
Now, this battery's nearly flat, but I have to swap it out because it's an old Sony A6000. Doesn't work properly unless you got the batteries in it. A USB bloody dummy battery to USB, so I'm running off batteries. I have to swap it out when it's flat.
Swap it out.
And from the other side asks, how do you think Australia has deteriorated economically and culturally over the last 10 years? Well, I think it has culturally deteriorated significantly over the last 10 years. I guess we've been adulterated with lots of population of immigrants. It's exponentially been going up and up and up. I remember in the 80s and 90s, our population was around 16 million. I know we're about 27 million now, so 10 million, well, we'll say from the early... I'm going to answer that question again. Do this again. This is why I don't do bloody podcasts, mate. Or could do questions. I don't do questions. Sorry, not unless you're a police officer. Well, then again, I still don't do them. I'll ask again. How do you think Australia has deteriorated economically and culturally over the last 10 years? Significantly. I think that Australia has definitely changed more than it should be. I mean, it's but inflation worldwide has been happening in recent times. Economically, culturally, everything's changing. I believe that we're in for some hard times coming in the next 10, 20 years as the demographic in society changes. Hoods, I think there's going to be like hoods of hoodlums. You see the young youth of today, the internet's destroying the planet. I think it's destroying the planet everywhere. Social media, that's not to say I think it should be banned like the Australian government's trying to do. They're trying to ban everything. Self-censorship is a good thing. People just need to get away from the mechanical wheel of social media and internet and just get out in the country, start breathing of nature air. That's what I believe. But that's still not answering the question properly. But I mean, you can edit this, surely. I know you can. You can edit all you like. Thank you. But I think that Australia has gone downhill somewhat in definitely the last 10 years, economically and culturally. Because I don't want to say too much. It's a hard question, bro. It really is. It's a hard question for me. It's not. I'm not really political at answering questions like this, but I've noticed big changes in the way Australia exists. I mean, I'm in a good area where life still feels kind of normal, and I like to sort of keep it that way. Go down the beach, do the.
He's in Perth, Western Australia.
On the other side.
Normal things. Live near the beach.
Other side.
Go to the bush, go for walks in the bush. But things are changing. The governments are changing. They're controlling us. We're just under more manipulation with this technology, the internet, surveillance. Everything's just all about future control. I just think that this
control,
honing in on their skills on how to control society more, because they're seeing that we're slipping out of whack a little bit, and we still are, and they want to get the grip on things and control us. It's funny how the other countries like to dictate to other countries how to be and whatnot. Like, I'm talking Western countries like Australia dictating and not dictating, but putting. Sorry, I am tired. This shouldn't be happening. Like Joe Biden's speech today has, where are the people protesting at the education, the university thing? We're
funny.
We're breaking the law, whatever the fuck. I'm terrible.
Like what I said, he probably wanted to say the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He probably wanted to say the same thing. There are laws and we have laws, and that's why we're breaking them. In regards to the people, isn't it incredible? Joe Biden. But most people, he just kind of smoothed right through it, Joe Biden. People not realizing really what he's saying. My God. So we're going to crush you we're going to crush you if you're protesting peacefully, which is exactly what they did.
Yeah. And the NATO display in Moscow, we had 50 military attaches from embassies from around the world checking it out.
Sure.
Wow, all those different uniforms.
Yes. And what else we got? Mr. Trump, we'll go on the Trumpster, he's talking about...
Seen what happened when Europe opened their doors to jihad. Look at Paris, look at London. They're no longer recognizable. And I'm going to get myself into a lot of trouble with the folks in Paris and the folks in London. But you know what? That's the fact. They are no longer recognizable. And we can't let that happen to our country. We have incredible culture, tradition. Nothing wrong with their culture, their tradition. Can't let that happen here, and I'll never let it happen to the United States of America.
He's late. He's a little bit late on that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, he is. And he's got out a new advert which Google's suppressing, so they'll probably do this on YouTube. Or maybe I shouldn't play it on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, the thing is about the United States compared to like Germany that let in all those immigrants, in Paris and France and all that is based on the size of the country and the population. They let in way too many. In the United States, I remember back in those days when it was 1 year, Angela Merkel one year she let in 1 million refugees flooding into Germany, from places that the USA was bombing, and making, poor and terrible. And so they were flooding into, like for example, Germany, 1 million. And in that year, the United States, which is far, 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 far bigger, they got 300,000 migrants total of that year. And they were complaining about how many migrants. Oh, man. And Germany is about the size of Washington and Oregon State, I believe. About that size. So, and I don't know. How big is Texas? How big is Alaska? Wyoming, a lot of those other, states. It's like the United States is a huge area. I guess probably to match, you'd have to probably bring in 100,000, based on size, but on population, of course, less than that.
Okay, so watch this advert.
Hello, I'm with the Biden campaign.
Yeah, I voted for Biden last time.
That's fantastic.
Is it? Everything costs more. Food, gas, rent.
Okay, but Biden's helping pay rent for newcomers to America from around the world.
You mean illegal immigrants? I'm struggling to pay my bills, but Biden's paying rent for illegals. They get handouts and I'm paying for it.
Seems like in
Biden
Germany.
can still count on your vote, right?
Things were better before Biden. I'm voting for Trump.
Make America Great Again Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
He's allowed to play that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're doing that in a lot of places. Like, I think probably in Paris. I remember even a long time ago, we're talking at least 20 years ago, a lot of people, I remember a Romanian girl that I was in, this one class that I had, and she was talking about that they were telling back then, that was before Romania was in the European Union, before that time. And they were telling them that when they go to Europe, Germany and France, that they're going to get a free apartment, they're going to get a free car and all that sort of stuff. So that, that's George Soros.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting all these people to flood over there.
And here we've got some Ukrainian soldiers with Trump, and they're explaining about
how to.
Yes, you might have to read the subtitles.
How to rip off the American people.
We address Donald Trump because you are a bastard.
Yeah.
President Zelensky couldn't get any weapons. You will never be president again. You are a traitor.
Because we'll come and kill you.
You'll pay with your blood for what you have done or did.
Because we're terrorists.
So there you go. And they load him up.
Look at Trump. He can really handle that. He's not even going ouch or running. I'd be rolling around all over them. Man, he's more of a man than I thought. I'm going to vote for him because he can look at it. He can withstand fire.
Yeah, he's fireproof. So yeah, and let's have a look what we got. And here we go. So we're going to do our usual
things you don't see in Belarus.
No, we're going to do that after this.
Oh,
after this.
Okay.
After you can say it.
So go to Rumble. Please go to our Rumble channel for the rest of the live show.
Yeah, because we're going to show some videos and YouTube won't like them at all this time, especially because we've got some naked ones.
Yeah. So
Duke's favorite ones.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the I'm going to put the link in the chat for YouTube. If you grab that and come to Rumble, see some videos, and our wonderful, wonderful new section called "You Won't See That in Belarus," or "Don't See That in Belarus." So I'm just going to do that. So I posted the link in the YouTube chat, so if you can come to Rumble and see the last part of the show, and
some of the funny stuff,
maybe the stuff. Well, some of it is funny,
yeah,
because you won't see that in Belarus. I'm telling you about some of these things you'll never see in Belarus.
Yeah.
So I'm about to cut YouTube off,